Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity, and presenting 7 reasons why shame is unrealized sabotage. I now admit and understand my insecure sabotage goes this way, goes inside out. We blame from in here because the outside events, encounters, and experiences, they awaken my insecure shame. And then I go this way, but I was blaming the outside world for what was going on in here. So now I understand blame comes from in here. It's from our insecure shame and how we shamed ourselves into something. But we learned shame instigates blasphemy, blame, because we blame the outside world. So we think that I thought it started out here, but it really starts from my insecure insecure shame images, and then rises out to be blasphemy, blame, and I blame the outside world or I blame other people, but it's all my insecure blame does it all. It's my sham of shame that is my blame. Condemns me into blame. And something that I've really opened up to is the more I blame me, the more I feel the shame of me, the more I blame the outside world. Shame is a selfish, harming, asinine, mimicking effigy. As blame is being lousy at managing everything. When we start blaming, we think we'll start shaming, but we really, when we blame, we sham ourselves into yesterday. But shame instigates stuck in the muck of moldy, old, worn out doubts, anger, frustration. Everything we blame on the outside world is inside us. And shame creates an unrealized avoidance of responsibility. As soon as we start feeling the shame, we go into the excuses and a lifestyle of denial of who we are and what we did. And you'll never be, if you never take responsibility for your life, you never enjoy the riches of your life. Sometimes the unsavory events of our lives are the most eye-opening, opportunistic energy within ourselves. And as I feel shame, I was a seeker of excuses. How do you, as soon as something happens, you look at an excuse to get out of it? The excusepedia keeps you locked and blocked in yesterday, and you never rise out of anything. And if you look at the leaders of the world, they never accept the responsibility for nothing. All they do is use the excusepedia and blame it on everybody but themselves. And it ain't about blaming. It's about being responsible. Shame and blame will never allow you to be responsible for who you are. Never appreciate the responsibility I never appreciated the responsibility of my actions. And as the inner dialogue shifts to shame and then to blame, as soon as I start feeling the shame, I open the excusepedia for what sounds good to blame that on somebody else. The world is so used to blame and shame, it's a gamut of damn it. Because if you look at today in the outside world, nobody stepped to the plate and said, this is my responsibility or even my fault. See, you're never at fault. You're always, I am responsible for this and I'm accountable for this. But as soon as somebody finds fault with something, they're feeling asinine, useless gunk. And blame, dialogue shifts shame into blame, and others feeding blame into shame, feeding my egotistical arrogance and know-it-all ignorance to stay the same. Now, that's something I really have opened up to the last 5 years, I'd say, is my egotistical arrogance and know-it-all ignorance and my hard-headed and stubbornness, which is has most of the responsibility for the challenges in my life. If I could rise out, getting rid of my egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance, stubbornness, hard-headedness, looking at the world that everything is wrong in the world, I'd have had zero challenges. There's nothing wrong in the world. The world is asking you and me and all the people in it to rise out of our ancestor-anchored programming and third world enslaving mindsets that keep us stuck in this world. You know, people will rise the world as other things will keep it stuck in the muck of yesterday. You know, if you listen to some of these Wall Street pundits, they think as long as business is making money, the world's going to turn. Well, business can make money, but business is not part of the world. People are the world. And they blame, people for not, taking care of their money and doing everything. Yeah, that's their responsibility. But also, you got to look at some of the laws and the things they passed, like free trade. They destroyed a lot of people's lives with free trade. You know, we got to get very honest about this stuff and talk about what's really doing the world. You know, back when I was in the 60s, you got a 40-hour job. Your wife could stay home or your one parent could stay home and they work. Now, both parents working can't make it, but that's a whole different subject. But we've never accepted the responsibility and accountability in what is this doing to the whole populace. And, some people got into it, but they forgot people make up the world. And that's the egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance, and selfish sabotage of the higher-ups. The world will come back where the people will lead. And, we get, and as something occurred, something uncomfortable or unsavory occurred, my unsteady emotions through unrealized and unadmitted shame preserve my self-image through shame because I find an excuse to make myself look good and push the part of the event off to the other things. I never stood up and said, that's my responsibility, my accountability, and I did this. But shame and blame threatens the individual self-image and self-worth by saying and telling the world other people did it. They're responsible, not me. And then we go into the shame and blame and change the facts of the events of the situation to fit into my egotistical fears, my snobbish selfishness, to protect my self-esteem through the insecurities and immaturity of myself. And then I project a bogus blame onto others, never maintaining my innovative self-perceptions. We have been taught to never face and embrace our own shortcomings because shortcomings, people laugh and giggle at them. But when you laugh at them, you liberate yourself from yourself. And when you appreciate them, not accept them, to appreciate the life events with an enterprising veracity, entertaining now analyzes the savvy of the event. See, it's like history. We've been taught the misery of history. we get into this, and this country did this country did this, but we never get in. We've never been shown the wisdom of history, because if you look at the circumstances of history, you're seeing that play out today in our lives. And the something about all the traditions and stuff like that of countries, how is that keeping people stuck in the past? When do we have to awaken and enliven an energy where we say, oh, this tradition needs to rise to this tradition? Because if you look at some of these traditions, they're antiquated. And another thing we like doing, we never like facing our own shortcomings, insecurities, and immaturities that keep the sham of shame and blame. We never face and embrace our own shortcomings. When you have the guts and the will to face and embrace your shortcomings, you rise and shine of a brand new world. As I now understand and esteem, my outside world has the events and the encounters that animate and engage my inner landscape, and it's good, bad, or indifferent, and then things go to wherever there is, and whatever emotion or feeling or image or something that has the strongest energy is the way I respond or react to life. And something I understand now, I've taught myself with this one, but it activates what has kept me, it activates my subconscious frozen in time comfort zone images and entertains my brain that way. And it really, when you open up to the old way, and that's their comfort zone, or the most familiar way to respond, that's the way you respond. And when somebody says, well, that guy's acting like a 2-year-old, well, that's probably the age that image was ingrained in the subconscious frozen in time representations. Because the subconscious mind never understands time. The subconscious mind reacts or responds to what it thinks is what you desire. And a lot of stuff we've embedded in the subconscious mind, we have no use for. And we never want to utilize it again, but it's the first response we have. And that is the insecure shame within us. And then we instantly blame something or somebody or something. Then we look for our encyclopedia of excuses, and we're going, oh, there's the excuse I used last time. Let's combine this excuse with this excuse, and then we can get out of it. Excuses excuse you from your life. When you face and embrace the life with appreciation and innovation, you look yourself in the eye of wise and realize you revolutionize enterprising audacity, loving internal splendor today. And see, everything in life occurs for you. Life occurs for me to rise and shine and expand me to my liminal carpet glide. But we've been so taught, anything we taught, we go in, and once it hits the inner landscape, we have no clue what's going to come out, because there's so much stuff ingrained in the subconscious mind, and we're clueless about it. However, sometimes when something's occurring, just step back, walk away, and just ask, what am I apprehensive about? Where is it? Why is this occurring for me? Start asking questions to diffuse the ruse of the situation. When something animates my inner landscape, good, bad, or indifferent, that opens my sunrise eyes, streaming my seer's ears to listen, witness, view, observe, and question my daily events and experiences, encounters that trigger my trailblazer enlightenment. I'll say that again. Triggers my trailblazer's enlightenment. To understand and admit, as soon as something happens in the physical landscape, it activates my reticular activating system, which sends responses and images through all my neural networks inside me. And then I send to the physical world the information that jump-started my responses to my daily life. Now, the reticular activation system is your fight, flight, freeze, and all the stuff. I don't want to get too far into it, but once something is activated, whatever is the strongest emotion, feeling, event, that's the way you're going to respond to your life. So, and then that's going to activate the inner dialogue, and then the inner dialogue is going to express whatever happens. So as my responses and reactions are formed, I instantly express them to the world, good, bad, or indifferent. That's just what happens. But it all comes in and comes out. But it's my whatever is most prominent. For me, used to be my insecurities and shame. Now is I got the gumption to listen and then question what's going on. So if you're responding or reacting to life, it's your reticular activating system that does it. It's your subconscious and inner landscape that reacts to life. And the reticular activating system is your flight, fight, and freeze system. But it also sends out neurological impulses to all your body, and then you respond and react to it. We respond and we respond and fond, and we react and crack. And see, we've been taught to react to life. I've been good at that, you know. It's easier to get mad quick than apologize, but it's really not a very good way to live life. It's no way to experience life, excuse me. Because we all encompass the grit, get, and go to respond and fond when we listen and question the situation. And, you know, something that I really, really understand now is I taught myself to respond in anger. But I watched it from my parents all the way through life. And so I'd respond in anger, thinking I was responding like a tough guy. And I was acting like I was a bullheaded bonehead. You know, everybody's got that bullheaded bonehead in them. But when I opened up to listen, to understand listening, I liberated me internally, streaming, trend-setting, energizing nous to listen, question, and experience life. So I now realize and admit, my life all begins in here. You know, I always thought it began out here and that responded, but no, it comes inside out. This activates here, but this is the way I respond. So you're inside out. Inside I glide, outside I fly. But it stopped being tormented by my own insecurities, immaturity, and all the unwanted stuff inside me. Just stop it. And start responding in fond, a forthright, optimistic, natural discernment. And see, something I understand now, people are way wiser than we are smart. We encompass the wisdom and insight and the clarity to respond, but we stay stuck in the muck of yesterday. Because I taught myself to respond like my parents. Let's just be simple. And like the teachers and everybody. And when they come up and they wanted to talk to you, they already had in their mind, and they were looking at me or you like I was guilty of something. They never come up and ask me, what is occurring? And they had their mind locked and blocked in what was going to happen. And that leads to insecurity in life. And that happened to me in the school system, especially back in the 60s and the 70s. It was a different lifetime now then, but they all had what they wanted to hear and how they wanted to hear it. If it wasn't inside that, they did what grown people do. But shame condemns me internally, as blame chastises me in the physical world. And then once I get it all going, the shame keeps the blame, and I never ask the questions to rise out of the shame and blame of that situation. How many events and encounters and experiences in your life are you blaming, feeling shame today, but blaming yesterday for today's challenges? That's one thing we do really well, is blame yesterday for today's challenges, because we never ever opened up to question the here and now. And blame is blatant larcenous, asinine mimicking, erroneous delusions. As shame is a selfish, harming, asinine mimicking effigies. But neither one, blame and shame, keeps you locked and blocked in yesterday, yesteryear, and the sneers that are all delusions today. And see, the subconscious mind, frozen in time representations of my blaming the outside world and my sham of shame within me, they never allow me to move forward. Because I'm looking for a blame, somebody to the shame and somebody to blame for my current life situation. That all died yesterday, though. But I've opened up to understand and admire. I listen and question my daily events and encounters with my desired outcomes and my desired lifestyle and my life of leisure. I question them. I question today with the wisdom insight of where I want to be in life. I quit asking, why is this happening to me? Instead of, why is this occurring for me? Why am I apprehensive about moving forward? Why am I allowing yesterday to control today in a blaming, shaming game of gamut, a damn it? As I rise to my liminal carpet glide of genuine, liberating, intuitive daredevilry energizes my game of gumption that chauffeurs me onto my paths of enlightenment, that illuminates my trails of triumph, gliding me onto my seashores, a son of the fun, stunning splendor. Now and forevermore, I soar of superstar optimism, adventurously realizing my life is experienced from my inner landscape, not controlled by my outside world that flows into my inner self and is causing shame to rise. So I called the shame through the blame in the river of liberation to understand my physical terrain shows me the good, bad, and indifferent. It shows me the good because I'm enjoying the path of enlightenment. It shows me the bad because I'm stuck in the muck of my excusopedia and blame and sham of myself. And the indifferent is just a passing of the torch to nowhere. As my inner artistry, as my inner landscape shows me the physical terrain, showcasing my inner artistry of my physical parades of love, peace, and prosperity, gleaming gusto gratitude, shines my awesome appreciation for me and my fervor frequencies of sovereign liberation, cultivating my inspiration that fosters forthright optimism of my here and now, energizes my optimistic views of my dreamers' paradises. It inspires me to rocket out of my past regrets, being a servant to my past instantly liberates me from me. To understand and admit, community connection communicates expressing, engaging the world with wisdom and inspirational lingo, connects me with a broader community of innovative individuals, energizing my savvy sense of connection and shared humanity, provides support and encouragement, instantly rises me out of feeling shame and blame, understanding wisdom and inspiration, energizes facilitating foresight, ignites warrior participating prowess, expressing innovative insight, adventurous vitality and sovereign valor, with vanguard ferocity, rising every people to their liminal carpet glide, to listen their way to prosperity and peace in a bold, bright way. I am Robert A. Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, and may your life be as blessed as are you a blessing to me in the world. And good night, and we'll see you next week.